Hello. This is your boy Double O Kamp Nexx Entertainment. I am so excited to be here with you today. This is going to be my first podcast of a series of podcasts that we're going to do either weekly or bi-weekly. My co-host, TP Hearn, is on a different assignment, so he won't be joining us today. Also, let's get the bills paid. Our future sponsor, I say future because not yet. Anybody who knows me know I love Wingstop. Every single Friday, that's our ritual. Me and my boy TP, we go to Wingstop. Before he went to his other gig, he came by and brought some Wingstop, and we enjoyed Wingstop. So, also, if you like the video, definitely press the subscribe, the like bell, give it a thumbs up. And in the description, all the things that I'm going to be talking about, I will have links, to my social media, to just about everything, in case you want something or whatever case may be. Also, big shout out to my main film guy, Chris. He's a guy that's been helping me out, do my live tutorials, and he comes out to events and tape records, and he's really good, really reasonable, and he will travel. He's local California, but he will travel for the right event and the right amount of money. So I'll have his contact information in the description below. That being said, today is Get the Elephant in the Room on tape. Alpo. Those of you know Alpo, the king of Harlem, was killed on Thanksgiving. There's a lot of speculation as to why. There's a lot of conversation about the things that went on from the early 1980s to his being arrested in 1991 and serving 26 years in jail. I myself have never actually worked with or for Alpo, but I know Alpo very good because he and I were good friends. We rode motorcycles together, and we had a lot of common people in Harlem that we hung out and around. So for the early 80s until the early 2000s, I was a hustler. I was in the street, and I was very good at it. I made a ton of money. My name was so big, at one point, I had to stop telling girls what my real name was, which is Double O. I had to stop telling them that because when they heard that, they went, oh no, I heard about you. That's how far my name was going in Harlem. You go to North Carolina or go to Florida or something like that, nobody knows who I am. But in Harlem, we call them street legends. So let's back up for a second. How did I meet Alpo? When I was in the street, before I started hustling, I was a cab driver for a luxury limo service that we had really nice cars. It's kind of like an Uber of that day. We had really nice cars, like a Lexus or a BMW or something like that. And we didn't have any fares. We charged mostly drug dealers to drive them around by the hour. They pay us $25 and they do something called put them on hold. So once they put you on hold, then you drive them wherever they want to go. And in those days, drug dealers didn't have cars. People weren't buying cars in the 80s like that, in the early 80s. So I was making a ton of money. And I was really popular with the car service because a lot of the people they were young that were riding, and the people that was driving were older. And there's a club called The Rooftop, which is a legendary club in Harlem from the early 80s to, I say, the late 80s. If you could get in the Rooftop, you were somebody, okay? It was hard as hell to get in the Rooftop. And teenagers, I want to say 16 to 25, this was the place to be. All the most beautiful girls, all the dudes that had money, come to the Rooftop. It was 50-50. It was skating for the first 2 hours and then a club for the next 4 hours. Now, DJ Brucey B and Hollywood were the biggest names in the DJ business at that time. And along came Kid Capri later on. But if you had a tape that they made in that club of the music they played that night, you could sell that tape 100 times over for $100. And I used to get a tape every single night I went in there, and it had my name all over it. So they were announcing, my man, Double O in the house, Double O. So people are hearing this and they're going, who the hell is this? They in their cars listening to the music. My man Double O came in the house. So I'm like a super big shot. Then the customers that I'm driving around, they enjoy riding with me because I'm young, they young, I'm playing all the right music, and I'm getting popular. So in New York, it's broken up into streets. The way New York works, 8th Avenue is one of the main avenues in New York. From 110th Street to 155th Street and 8th Avenue, that's what's known as the Strip. That's the main area. If you in that strip, then you Harlem. You Harlem. You could be on 7th and Lenox. You could be a little bit west, but 8th Avenue is the nucleus of Harlem. So when you come in north from downtown, on your right-hand side is the park. What's the park in New York? Central Park. So Central Park is on the right side. I'm talking about this is all well-to-do whites, entertainers, all very wealthy people. All apartment buildings have doormen, and right across the street you have one of the most beautiful views in New York, Central Park. Once you get to 110th Street and you cross that going into 111th Street, you in the hood. Bobby Womack across 110th Street, and he tells the story of how the city changes when you go across 110th Street. So back to the Strip. 55th Street is where the rooftop was, where one of the biggest projects in Harlem is at, and Rucker Park. Now Rucker Park is one of the most famous basketball parks that I know of anywhere. I mean, everybody who's anybody, all the N1 competitions, everybody used to come to Rucker Park. And then they got an NBA endorsement that NBA players could play in the tournaments. So you got Magic Johnson up there. I never saw Jordan. You got Magic Johnson. You got just Latrell Sprewell, Allen Iverson. They playing in the games in the street. These are games that kids is never going to be able to see and sit, 5 rows from the front. So it was an amazing, amazing time, and along with it was the hustlers. This was their time to shine. Get your car clean, get your new outfit on, your new sneakers, go get your hair cut. Girls was getting their hair done, their nails done. It was a car show, and it was a place to come out and meet and mingle. So 55th Street, there's no really houses over there. But then once you start coming south 55th Street, the first place you're probably going to hit is 145th. That's a major street because that's where Willie Burgers is at, the S&S, and a couple of clubs there. So that was a big stop. Now Willie Burgers is a burger stand. It's just a burger stand that has some of the best burgers I ever tasted in my life before or since. The burgers are amazing. People used to be on, and it's 24 hours, 7 days a week. So when you come from the club, that's where you going. Willie's got a line with like 20, 30 people. If you've ever been to LA and you see the line for Pinks, that's the way Willie Burgers look. And he sells burgers all day long. Going down a little bit further, you're gonna hit 142nd Street and 141st Street. That's where I eventually opened my game room at, and I was hustling out of there, and I had arcade games, and that's where we hung. So this was like my stomping ground. This was like where I hang out so people can come meet me, come talk to me. Cell phones were as big as they are now. It was beepers. So they say, let's ride by 41st Street, see if O out there. So they was coming out over there. You go down a little further, 140th Street, that was where I had my spot at. 140th Street was a busy block, man. There was about maybe 40, 50 drug spots in one block. 40, 50 different crews selling drugs at 140th Street. You go down a little bit further, you're gonna get to 132nd Street. God bless the dead, this is Rich Porter's block. And I'll get to him in a second. You go down a little bit further, you get to 118th Street. This is Eric Von Zip, the real player. I was telling my buddies, we used to have Sundays, used to be barbecue day. All the food is free, all the champagne is free. You just come out, hang out, have a good time. And regulars down there were people like Mike Tyson, Alicia Keys, Chris Brown, Don the Magic Wand, Stevie Wonder. Now, some of these people are super celebrities, but I'm going, this is a different caliber of celebrity. So I went over to Zip, people smoking weed, Zip smoked weed like Snoop. I went over to Zip and I was like, hey, yo, Zip, man, how you get Stevie Wonder to come out here? He said, what? I said, how'd you get Stevie Wonder to come out here? He said, shit. Stevie don't know where he at. I told him we at the Grammys. That's how he was, man. So that's 118th Street. You go down a little bit further, that's 116th Street. That's Baldy. Baldy's a major player since a long time ago. He was around when Frank Lucas, Jesse Gray, Green on Green, Mr. Tibbs. Mr. Tibbs, old man riding around a Rolls Royce convertible in the 70s. Black man. Could care less about the police. So Baldy's block is the stomping ground for a lot of things. Mainly motorcycles. If you ride motorcycles and you're not invited to 16th Street, you might as well give it up. Because you got to know how to wheelie to ride with Baldy. And I was nice on them bikes. Anybody who know me will tell you, I got blocks on the wheelie. Blocks. So from 116th Street, you go to 115th Street. That's a block that Alpo used to hang out in sometimes. And then the next block down is 114th Street. God bless his dead Big Tima. You know, because every one of these blocks got like an OG that runs that block. And then when you go down to 112th Street, my man, I call him drunk ass. This motherfucker, when we was broke and we didn't have no money, we used to drink St. Ives back in the day. He drinking champagne these days. Life is a little better for him. But we used to drink St. Ives. We get a big garbage can like the shit that's in the back of your house, fill it up with ice and water, and put as many 40s as we can put in there. We throw in a bag of lemons and about maybe 10, 20 fruit punch, Hawaiian fruit punch. We'd open it, once the 40s get cold, we open them, cut the lemon up, put it in there, throw a little fruit punch in there, and start the day. Listen, this is malt liquor, man. Two of these put me on my ass, and I got tolerance. I seen drunk ass drink 18 40s one day. The dude is no joke, man. So that's kind of a breakdown of what the street is. Now, moving forward, the story I'm hearing about Alpo has some parts about it that is kind of true, and a lot of parts that people mixed up because they taken some stuff that was in paid in full, and they changed it up to be movie friendly. So they didn't actually report it. It was very close. But I could tell you things like Rich didn't smoke cigarettes, and they had him smoking cigarettes in there. You know, I mean, a lot of that stuff did happen, but there's a lot of stuff that they kind of changed up a little bit to make it movie friendly. So moving forward, Al is on the west side now. He's doing what he's doing. Rich is on 32nd Street doing what he's doing. AZ is up on the hill doing what he's doing. They get together all the time. They hang out all the time. I guess whenever they need work, if one got it, the other one doesn't. They take care of each other. Rich is known in the street as a generous dude, not a violent dude. If you owe Rich some money and you come to him and you talk to him and tell him what's going on, he let you go, man. He said the only thing bad gonna happen to you when you don't pay me is you're not getting nothing else. That's the type of dude he was, all right? AZ kind of the same way, but AZ kept his circle real small. It's real hard to get something from AZ because he had a good circle. He didn't need to bother outside people. So I very rarely know somebody that could get a hold of A. But Alpo was all over the place. As time went on, his name got really hot, and he decided that it was time for him to go out of town because what you could get, let's say $100 for in Harlem, you can probably get $500 for in DC. The problem is DC dudes are monsters. That is the murderingest state I ever been in. I heard dudes have conversations where they say, hey, yo, man, make sure you bring your gun out tonight because we're going to kill somebody, man. They ain't even go out yet. That's the intention, that we're going to kill somebody tonight. So because of that reason, when Al went out to DC, he had to adjust his way of thinking to kind of meld with the attitude that was out there, or else you know what they say, you either a wolf or you a sheep. And if you don't roll like they roll, they're going to roll over you. So Al had a few people out there, Wayne Perry and Big Head Gary, and a few other guys that were real killers. And I know, because I was in DC for 3 years. I know I almost got killed 3 times out there. They shot my car up so bad, I got my clothes out the hotel and brought my ass back to New York the last time. They are not playing out there, man. So I think this is what changed the way Al did business and the way he looked at things, because out there you can't let nothing slide. Rich would get taken advantage of in D.C. because you know that's nice businessman shit. That's just gonna cause them to take advantage of you. They're wolves. They looking for something to prey on. So when Al went to D.C., we saw a difference in him. We started hearing about him doing things. You know, out there in D.C. I was in D.C., so I used to see him every now and then. I was on the same block that his man Gary was, so he used to come through. And that, I think, changed the way he was, because he's a pretty good person. He was always wild. You're not taking nothing from him. You're not going to disrespect him. He might disrespect you just to do it. I remember one time a guy, big time guy, was having a birthday party. And everybody was dressed up in their Sunday best. It was like the Omni Hotel or something like that. It was a big deal. And the dude had a cake probably as big as two of these tables. And they was about to cut cake, and Al came in, and he picked the cake up and threw it on the dude and said, "Happy birthday." He do stuff like that. We used to shoot CeeLo, which is dice, in the street. And Al would pull up. When he pulled up, he would have money. And when I'm talking about money, I'm talking about like 20, 30,000 cash. And there'd be like 5 or 10 guys on the line, and they'd be gambling. I don't want to get all into that. But what I do want to tell you on the wild side, how you couldn't predict what he was going to do. There was this girl that she had got a lawsuit because her mother died, you know, through the hospital's care. So she got like a $3 million lawsuit. She had a real nice car, a convertible BMW. And her and 2 of her friends was in the car, and the top was down. And so she pulls up, and all the guys is outside, and Alpo's losing. So when you playing dice and you losing, you know, you want to hurry up. You want to keep playing. So the girl was calling the dude. His name was Frankie or whatever it was. Alpo said, "Yo, break out, man." And she said, "Ain't nobody talking to you." And he looked. "Hey, yo, man, shoot the dice." And she stayed there. And she calls him again, and he's like, "Yo, I'm going to be here for a little while." He feeling good. He winning. He got the girls out there looking at him. He the man right now. Alpo said, "Yo, man, stop fucking with these bitches, man. Shoot the dice, nigga. You got my money in your pocket, man." He's like, "All right, man, all right." He said, "Yo, I told you to break out. I ain't going to say it again." And so then he turned around and the dude turned around, was, you know, shooting the dice and everything. And he beat Al again. And the girl said, "Just come here for 1 second." When she said that, Al went walking over to the car. She's double parking the street. When walking over the car, he stepped up on her bumper, stepped up on the trunk of her car. Her car is down, her top is down. She's got a girl in the back seat, a girl in the passenger seat, and she's driving. He took his dick out and started pissing all in the car, on all of them. He's peeing all over these girls. He said, "I already told you 3 times to leave. Now get the fuck out of here." And she wouldn't dare try to pull off while he was doing that. Because then if he fell off that car, she'd have a different problem. So I tell you that to tell you how wild he was and how he used to do that. Moving forward, this is something that I sort of know, but I wasn't there, so I'm going to give you the most accurate explanation of what happened between he and Rich. I don't want to get into the little brother, but I will tell you that my understanding, Alpo didn't have anything to do with the little brother. Okay, we pretty much know who did that. But the rumor goes that Al was on the run at the time. So he couldn't come to New York to cop drugs. And Rich wasn't under any heat, so he was copping for Al. But Rich had his own connect, and Al had his own connect. So if Al's connect is out, he wants Rich to get him from his connect, and then he can charge him whatever he wants. So if he paid $18,000 a key, and he wants to charge him $20,000, he could do that because he can make money because it's your connect. But if you get him from my connect, then charge me whatever he charged you. Don't put nothing on my connect's bricks. So moving forward, supposedly Al got joints from, he got joints from the Connect a couple of times, and he eventually came to Harlem, and when he came to Harlem, he ran into the Connect, and he said, "Yo, what's up, man? When you gonna look out for brother?" He said, "What are you talking about?" He said, "The joints, man. When you gonna look out?" He was like, "Man, I hit your man Rich 3 times already." He said, "Nah, you ain't giving that. Rich got that from his man." He said he described them perfectly, and they were some real good joints. They had something like Ronald Reagan on them, because the bricks always have like a Puma sign or Adidas sign or a president. It'll have something that lets you know who they are, what they are. So he said, "Oh man, I'm gonna talk to Rich." So he talked to Rich. He said supposedly Rich stuck to his story and said he wasn't jerking him, because he felt like, "You stealing money from me." You know what I'm saying? I myself think if you're gonna commit a felony favor, you're gonna get drugs on behalf of somebody, you should be able to make something. This is, you know what I'm saying? This is penitentiary. You know what I'm saying? You throwing bricks at the penitentiary. But that's not my dog to fight. I ain't got a dog in that fight. You know what I'm saying? So I keep my mouth closed. But he said he talked to him a second time over the phone and asked him, "Rich, tell me the truth, man. Did you get them joints from my man or your man? Because my man is telling me you got them from him." He said, "Man, I already told you I got them from my man." He said, "All right." So he said he went to his man Gary and was like, "Yo, we're gonna go to New York. And if Rich lied to me again, I'm taking him out." He came to New York. I guess Rich stuck to his story, and the rest you already know. Now moving forward, he does 26 years in jail for 14 murders in Washington, D.C., some stuff in Virginia, some stuff in Maryland. I don't think he had no problems here. And he had made an agreement with the FBI to testify against some of the people down in D.C. that he did crime with. He also claims he made an agreement not to testify against anybody in Harlem. Part of his agreement was he said, "I'm not telling on nobody in Harlem." Whether he did or did not, that I do not know. But I do know some people that probably were involved in some of the things that he could have told on, and they never went nowhere. So I'm inclined to believe that he was being honest. But as of 2015, he goes to jail in 1991. As of 2015, there's sightings. Alpo is popping up. Of course, I'm gonna hear about it right away because I hang out with the dudes on 116th Street, and he's definitely coming there because that's the motorcycle central right there. That's where we hang out. So I get my boys say, "Yo, dog food." We used to call him dog food. Oh, another thing, I haven't heard anybody say this. Anybody know why they call him Alpo? Put your answers in the comments because it's not what you think. I know a lot of people who don't know him don't know why they called him Alpo, but it's a funny story, and I just haven't heard anybody mention the reason that people call him Alpo. So, tying it all together, in 2015, he makes some guest appearances, you know, on different blocks. He's showing up. He was seen in an orange Rolls Royce drop head. He was seen in a lot of nice cars. He popping up at clubs, you know, pulling up with mink coats on. You know, he doing his thing. Now, Al was a wild boy, man. He not scared of nobody, man. So you got to bring ass to get ass. So, you know, but, you know, take yourself out of harm's way, man. It's against you. When everybody's trying to hurt you and you trying to stop everybody from hurting you, maybe you get away once, maybe you get away twice. But sooner or later, if you're putting yourself in harm's way, something bad is going to happen. So he's popping up at different places. And most recently, as most of you might know, he was on 151st Street and 8th Avenue at an event. And somebody popped 5 shots into the truck. A really tight group. Whoever this guy was, he was like a marksman. He really knew what he was doing, man. He hit Alpo behind the glass, all 5 shots, and killed him instantly. So that story ends badly. He got through everything he had to get through. He was in jail. I'm told he was in general population. He wasn't in witness protection in jail. And carrying that tag that you a snitch, usually the whole jail is trying to get to you. So he held his own. He did 26 years to come home, and in 5 years, he's dead. So for me, I had some good times with him. I definitely don't agree with everything that he did. You know, it's not my business, so I really don't have a thing to say about any of the things that he did. He did what he needed to do for him, and that was one of the things he said when he talked about telling. He said, I did what I had to do for me. And when he came home, one of my boys called me. He said, yo, dog food out here. I said, put him on the phone. So he put him on the phone. He was like, what's up, 00? I heard you in Cali, man. I said, yeah. He said, oh, yeah, you telling him jokey jokes, right? I said, yeah. He said, what you think about what I did, man? I said, man, I don't have an opinion, man. It's not my fight. I don't have a dog in that fight. Only thing I would say is the Rich thing, probably could have handled that different because y'all was so close. I'm sure there was some type of agreement y'all could have came to where he had to pay it back or whatever case it be, because I don't think that would be an ongoing thing. But again, I'm not here to judge you, brother. It's not my money. It's not my business, and I don't do that. So he said, before I hang up, man, let me just tell you this. And I don't say this to everybody. He said, but you know, dudes out here judging me, telling me what they would have did. Until you stand behind them walls and a district attorney tell you they're going to take away 26 years of your life if you don't tell. No, they're going to take away 26 years of your life if you tell. If you don't tell, they seeking the death penalty. They're going to put a needle in your arm. Now, if you could tell me that you can hear that and still stick to your guns and say I'm not telling nothing, you're a better man than me. Because when I heard that, I did what I needed to do for Poe. Enough of that. Real quick, I wanted to talk, we want to keep going?
Sure.
Real quick, LGBT community, Dave Chappelle been going through it. I'm a comedian, so I understand a comedian's way of thinking. They're trying to provoke thought. They're trying to walk on the wild side and say things that other people didn't think of or say. In comedy, people say that geniuses are borderline comedians, and comedians are borderline geniuses. And the reason is because they both see everything most people see, but they see that thing they don't. That's why when you hear a great written joke and delivered, you have that aha moment. Because you looked at that and didn't see that every time you saw it. So a great comedian has to be somebody who can not just say, oh, your mother's so fat and, you know, you're ugly and your shoes stink, you know, things like that. I tend to say, if you can laugh at almost all the jokes, you can laugh at all of them. And the ones you prefer not to hear, then vote with your dollars and don't buy a ticket. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't want to hear people being taken advantage of. You know, I don't want to hear people creating violent situations. But I don't think that's the case. Dave Chappelle doesn't have one particular group that he is targeting. It's just that almost every group that he talks about is fine with the things he says, where the LGBT community doesn't like it. So now people are taking into consideration how what he's saying is making them feel. So I don't know, you know, I don't think you should be able to make fun of somebody's minority, you know, and their life choices. So maybe he is walking the line the wrong way. But as far as I'm concerned, if you ask me, I watched the special. It was definitely a bit edgy. I have a gay sister. She watched it. She said she absolutely loved it. She absolutely loved it. So it depends on your perspective. If you're the type of person that you want to stand up for a group because you don't like what one person is saying, then maybe your intention and your motivation, you need to revisit it. Because if you're trying to get somebody to stop saying something to stuff that everybody's comfortable with, including people of your community, then maybe it's you. Maybe it's you uncomfortable with it. And I don't want you to be uncomfortable, but I don't think you could feel that everything that you think shouldn't happen. I want to thank you for checking me out today. Kamp Nexx Entertainment. We are a film company, books. We're going to do TV shows, comedy shows. We make beats. We do production. We do recordings. We let you lease the beats for a fee. And when we lease the beats, that means anybody can use them, or you can get an exclusive on a beat that you buy that nobody else will use it. We promote singers. We have management companies, just a host of things. And don't forget, we have videographers, which is very important. You have to understand, when you go out to these events and you perform and you have an amazing night, you want to create yourself a bio reel so that you can take that to the agencies, not just a tape or a CD. You want to see them perform. So my man, film guy Chris, he's got a crew. I'm gonna put his information in the link below. I'll put all the links to social media and everything. Hit that subscribe button, that bell, and give me a like. And be on the lookout for something more coming. Kamp Nexx. Sorry TP couldn't be here, but he brought the Wingstop, so he half in. Oh, just in case y'all think I'm fronting. All right, so that's what I came up with, man. I just came up here, man, just to mess around a little bit, man.